So every security guard loves barbecue. Here's a nice piece of tri-tip I got. No marinade, just plain tri-tip. Did a dry brine the night before, covered it in salt, rubbed it in, wrapped it up, and put it in the fridge overnight. Then I just sprinkled a little bit of granulated onion and some pepper. Simple, nothing too fancy. Tri-tip is a great tasting piece of meat, so you don't need to put a whole lot of things on it. Let's do this. All right, so I've got this meter plus probe that I got as a Christmas present, and got the probe into the meat. We're gonna go put this on the grill. And here on the grill, I got a couple of oak coals, and I got a fresh piece of oak on there for the smoke. I'm gonna do this. And here's the app for the meter probe. We're gonna set this up for a setup cook to cook beef. Go to roast, and then select tri-tip. And then we're gonna set this to a medium rare, and then we're gonna hit start cook and get this going. Okay, we've got the tri-tip sitting here on the grill. The probe in place. Gonna let this thing cook. Got a nice little fire here, so let's go ahead and shut this down. So this grill is something that I built from scratch. Recycled a few parts. That's a barrel smoker. You can see the smoke wisping out of there. But this is my barrel smoker, made from scratch from an old oil barrel, and then I recycled some older barbecue parts to make this smoker. Don't have to make this. You could always use even a Weber. You just got to make sure that you have an indirect heat. You got my heat source on one side, meat on the other. So in this case here, it's saying here that at the top we've got a temperature of almost 400 degrees. But let's take a look at the app and see where we're at now. So we've got an ambient temperature of about 236 degrees right now, and our meat is setting right around 85 degrees, and it's going to calculate the amount of time it takes to cook to our medium rare setting. So it's going to analyze the rate at which the internal temperature climbs. And then here we have finally found out what the remaining time is. It says 25 minutes until medium rare. And so we'll just go ahead and let this run for a while. So part of the way of you controlling the ambient temperature in a grill is to only add as much coals as you need to bring it to the temp. And if you need to drop the temperature, grab some tongs and pull some coals out. Put them aside in a metal pot. And if you need to, re-add them. But yeah, I'm using actual oak that I cut from my property. So this tri-tip's coming along nicely. It's looking good here. It's got some nice coloring, nice smoke color. Fire's a little hot, so I may end up pulling something out of here in a minute, but let's go back and look at the app. And it's coming along nicely. We got a good ambient temperature, an internal temperature slowly climbing, which is what you want. You don't want it to cook too fast or the meat will be too tough. So I flipped the meat over directly over the fire with the fat cap down at this point to kind of give it a nice little crispy edge. Just going to leave it there for about a minute. I'll flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. All right, so I'm going to flip this over now. Fat cap back up to the top and see the other side. And that's looking pretty darn good right there. All right, now that I've done both sides, I'm just going to move this back over to the low heat side of the grill again and close this up. And checking back on the app again, we've got a little bit of time left here. And skip forward, we got about a minute left. Skip forward again, and we're done. And we're going to pull this meat out. It's time for the meat to rest. So we're going to pull this off the grill. All right, we're going to pull this off the heat now. Set this on the tray. We're going to let this rest. Let's go ahead and bring it inside. And now the probe's going to monitor the internal temperature while the meat rests, and it'll let us know when it's done. And look at those juices just gushing out of this piece of meat. Very juicy, very tender. Perfectly done.